it's Createful Christmas. Welcome to my channel, Createful Art. I would love to invite you to Createful Christmas. This is where I teach you how to create artwork centered around the theme Christmas. Today's painting, I'm going to show you how to paint this cute Christmas truck with a Christmas tree on it and a wreath. This is my 4th year doing Createful Christmas, so I have several Christmas art projects already for you to choose from. And from now on, we're going to be doing Christmas art projects into December. Here's how you can get access to all of these fun videos. Go to createfullart.com and there you will find Createful Christmas and how to sign up, and then you'll see all the Christmas art projects and the supplies that you need for them. I'm so glad you're joining me, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, the bell next to it, and go tell your friends. So let's get started. The first step is sketching out your truck. So I have some sketches here. This one is my favorite, so I'm going to use that as my reference to sketch this out. If you want to make it easier for you, you can get the reference photo for this by clicking right over here and becoming a Createful Art member. Alright, so I want to fill my canvas with the sketch, okay? So I'm going to pick where I want my tree to be kind of close to the edge, but not, I'm going to give it about like maybe a little over ½ an inch. Okay, so I know the tree is going to land somewhere over on the side here, not in the middle. So I'm just going to give myself a little indication of where it's going to be. And this is a watercolor pencil, so all these lines are going to be erased. So it doesn't matter what color I use of watercolor pencil, it's just going to erase with water. And I kind of have to give myself an idea of how big that tree is going to be. So I got the point here. Okay. And then I have the truck, and the truck's headlight is just a little bit past the tree, and it's about in the middle, if you can see that. Okay. So I had to make this up myself. There wasn't a reference photo for me to go on, so that's why I'm going off of my drawing. So I'm going to put my light right over here. I don't know if that's how big it's going to end up being, but it's just going to give me an idea. Okay. And then I need to have a light over here as well. Okay, and so I'm going to put mine the same distance as that one. Okay, on the same plane. Then my wheels, I'm going to have it about the same distance as where my trees is at. So I'm going to start my wheel at this plane, somewhere along these lines. It's all about perspective, and it just takes some drawing practice. And like I said, if drawing is not easy for you, then just get the reference photo to help you. Once I have my sketch done, then it's so much easier to paint this. So take your time on your sketch to get it to look right. I'll just show you really quick how easy it is to erase those lines when you use a watercolor pencil. Nice and clean. Okay, so you're looking at some basic shapes here. You're looking at this shape. Okay. You're looking at the windshield being inside of there. Okay. You're looking at the chairs where everyone sits. You want your windshield wipers to go from one side to the next. You need a middle part here. Your windshield wipers go the same direction. Okay. You have some design right here because this is a Ford truck. It has this design. There's several Ford trucks to choose from for designs, so it's not like permanent. There's a poke right here, and this comes down like this, and then some lines come in. Okay. And then I wanted to put a wreath right here just because it's so darn cute. So I'm going to have a bow. Okay, I'm going to make my bow first, and then I just make this a circle, and then I go outside that bow. I'm just using a squiggly line for that, and I like the word squiggly. Okay, and behind this to about right here is a grill. So I'm just gonna create that, straight lines. Okay, I may need to go down a little bit. We'll see. I'm gonna kind of round that. And I want to make sure that my lines go across and they're matching this line down here. Okay, otherwise it's going to look really crooked and not cool. Okay, so I can move this down a little bit. Okay, I've got circles right here for the headlights, and I think they're up a little bit more. So paying attention to these little details when you're looking at a truck is important if you want to draw it correctly, but this is just an impressionistic painting. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I got the wheels, and I know I'm getting close to where I didn't want to have my wheel go past, so I'm just going to make sure that I get this wheel in right now. Move it over a little bit, and then have this part down here like that, because I can always bring this up just a little bit. Okay, so that's as good as I do usually for my sketch. Oops. I just need to have the basic idea here. These are going to come in a little bit more so they look like they're not poking out too far, and you're ready for the next step. So these are the colors that I'm working with for this month, and you can mix these colors with me. You just become a Createful Art member right here, and the color mixing video will be there for you. I'm also just using a few brushes, a small round, a small flat about the size of my finger, and a little bit bigger of a round. This one's a size 8. So I'm going to start with the tires here, and as you can see, I don't have a black. I can mix a pretty darn dark color with my blue, my green, and my red here. This right here is black enough for me, so I'm going to grab my flat brush for this, and I'm going to use that edge to square the tire, and then on this side fill in your tires. Right, so that black is also going to go in between the grill. So I'm just going to use the flat side of my brush here. So I'm just going to create a line there, create a line here, remember this does not have to be perfect, but I am going to look and see, like, I'm going to give about equal distance between each line and make sure that they are parallel. I'm going to do 4. Now I'm just going to create a slight line under this. It's just going to give me that shadow. And then I'm going to create that shadow up here. Curve up a little bit on the side. I'm just taking my small round brush here, and I'm going to go around my lights with the shadow. I might just want to add another little circle in here. Okay, so now I'm going to take my black, and I'm going to add that to the mirrors over here, just to kind of shape them out. Have just a line right here, and the line connecting it. Okay. And I can take a little bit of white, add it to my black for some shadow. So I'm going to do that same thing inside here. I'm going to add some of that dark color around the edges. Make a little slight line right here in the middle. And then I'm going to create black right here. But I might want to lighten that color so that the wipers can have some contrast there and can be seen. Add a little bit of that dark color around this area. Basically drawing with my brush. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to add a little bit of this aqua blue with this blue. Okay, and wet it down so it acts more like a watercolor. Okay, and I'm going to go around my shapes, and if you find you have too much on your brush because it's too dark, you just take it off with your paper towel because you want it to easily spread. And this is the windshield, so there's going to be a difference in color in certain areas. Okay, just adds more depth to have that color change. And I'm going to take this white, take a little bit off my brush, just add some white right here to lighten that color. So to create just a little bit of shadow, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw this out with my gray and create these lines. Line, this line. And then I'm going to go around this line as well. Okay. Add some gray right through here. I'm just going to spread this color from one side to the next, letting it be a little streaky. Now I'm going to take my gray and I'm going to add the gray in between these. So I'm just taking my line and pulling down, and I'm going to move it in a little bit more than what I had drawn out. My wreath will go over it. Now I'm just making sure the lines on the edges are nice. I'm going to just add the windshield wipers. And I'm just taking my brush and following the line. And it's obviously going to be snowing because they're up. So we'll have a little bit of snow coming in on this vehicle. Alright, so traditionally Christmas trucks are red, but I just can't help myself. I really don't want to do red because I think the bow will pop out and the red straps that I'm going to put on here. So I'm going to be using this blue right over here. And the thing is that when I'm painting this, I want to create enough shadow and light so that there is form to this, okay? Okay, so I'm going to make this part dark and then I'll get lighter as we go forward. Okay, so I'm going to start adding a little bit of my white to my blue here. And I'm going to come forward and this is going to round out here. Follow that line and come forward with that lighter color. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit more white to my blue and I'm going to follow this line here. Okay, then I take everything off my brush. Okay, and I'm going to blend. So to blend, I just take this, my brush, and I go over it a couple times. That color, going with the shape of the truck. So what I want to do on this side here is I also want it to be dark and come into the light. And that black behind there is kind of just going to disappear because I'm not using a translucent color, so I'll have to put that back in. So I'm just going to grab some white on one half of my brush and blend. So I'm going to switch over. So it's going the other direction. Okay, then I can grab my gray and create that line again. So I'm just going to take my white, and I already have some blue on my brush. I'm going to add a lot of water, okay? And the water is going to make it transparent. So I want to make sure I have enough water on it that it will be transparent, so I come and check. So I'm again using this like it's a watercolor. If I have too much on my brush, it's going to cover those lines. So I just check, and if I need to, I take off more color. So I'm just spreading the color that's on my brush right now. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the darker color. Just kind of follow that line right up there. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shape here, and I'm using white. And you can barely see it. So I'm just going to give it like the little classic round top right here. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a little bit of the lighter gray to these. Now I need to go around this right here, and it's going to be our darker blue. So I'm just going to grab a straight color here and go around. Just going to fill that in to the edge of my black here and do that all the way around. So it is the imperfect nature of this truck that's going to make it interesting to look at. So I'm just adding in some lines here and there, just kind of giving it some interest with some different randomness. Okay, all right, maybe I'll even add a little bit of that blue on the outside here. Okay, I'm gonna outline this piece down here. So a very small line with my blue here. You're gonna have a lot of shadow right under here, a lot of shadow in the cracks and the crannies of things. So I like to just kind of outline it with the dark. And now I'm going to go with the lighter color. Blend it in there. And I'm using my flat brush because it's going to fill in a little bit more of an area faster. Around this area, I'm just going to kind of go into my bow. And don't forget to take some time to blend. Okay, gonna add a little bit of white around this edge right here that I'm not gonna blend. Okay, so that right there is the edge of that truck. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. You can see I went over some of my dark stuff. That's okay. It's even okay that it's different from that side, because the light can hit differently. Just gonna do the same thing. Add a little bit more dimension right there in the front of that truck. Okay, then I'm gonna take my round. I think my round will be better for this. Add a little white to my round. Create some more dimension right here around my light. Just add a little lightness right there. I just decided to do that. Okay, just because I want to. Now looking at it, I'm going to create a little bit of a light line right here. And the same thing going this direction, meeting that corner. So you just made that kind of more fun to look at too. Going to gray out this outer edge. Gray in that inner edge. Alright, so now I'm going to add kind of the inner part of this grill because I skipped over that. And just remember, perfection is not key. Alright, now you can move on to the tree and the wreath. So for this tree, because I need to have a little bit more control over my brush strokes, I'm going to use this round brush. Okay, so I kind of had to play around with trees to make it look like a tree because usually they're poking straight forward, but I didn't like that. So the tree is going to start here with the poke, and I'm just going to give it like a little bit of a triangle. You see it's going to be shaped going this direction. Okay, so it's leaning up against that back end. Maybe there's more than one tree, who knows. I just like the way that this looks. Okay, so then I'm going to take that and I'm just going to move out. Okay, And it's going to be pretty solid for now. It's going to just look like not very interesting of a tree. Okay, but I'm leaving gaps between it and I'm going thinner as I go out. So I'm putting more pressure right now on my brush and then I'm coming out. Okay, and then when I get to this, I'm just gonna have to fill it in. Right, I'm leaving a gap right here and that's gonna be a strap. So I'm coming over here and then this comes flat right here. Okay, fill this in. So now you can start creating some dimension in your tree by adding another layer over it of the lighter color. Okay, it's going to mix underneath with that color because it's wet, so you don't want to over mix. You just want to go on the top here. See how I'm just leaving kind of gaps, not over blending. Now I'm going to take my dark blue and just kind of the same thing what I did with the light, I'm adding some dark in there. And as long as I don't blend, then it's going to be fine. A little bit of shadow in here, darkness. It's all it needs. Some more shadow on this side because it's up against the truck. Okay, so now I'm going to do kind of the same thing down here. I'm going to grab my green. Okay, and I'm blotching. So I'm going to put a lot of emphasis in the middle ring around it, and then on the outside I just pull out. Okay. Show a little bit. So now I'm going to put the bow in, and I'm going to go down to my small brush for this, and I'm just going to follow the shape of a bow. To add dimension, we go to our darker red and we go on the outside of the bow with our darker red. I like to add a loop right here for the bow and then a loop over here. Okay, and then I take the underside of the bow and I add some dark under the underside. This one I'm going to add a little twist to it. And I'm going to add a little bit of blue just to this underside where there would be some shadow. That's going to add some dimension to my wreath. And then a few spots in my wreath I'm going to just add a little blue. Okay, now I'm going to add the light in my lights. This is a gold. It's translucent, so it's just going to go right on top. So this is a fun part. This is where you can add snow. You can be super creative with this. Now you can take your toothbrush and you could put some white into your toothbrush like this and pull back and get some snow. Up against the white background you're not going to see it, but over here on the tree and on the car you'll be able to. Fun, huh? Okay. And then where the snow would gather, I just grab my brush here, nice clean brush. Maybe I'll want my bigger round brush for this so I can be a little bit more uneven and blobby. You're gonna have white on the top here. Okay, and you just want to make sure you just make it look like it's gathering snow, so don't be perfect. Right, the less water you have on the brush, the less translucent, so make sure you don't have a lot of water. Okay, here's going to be a layer of snow right on top of this. It's going to be super uneven. You're going to have snow on your tree. Okay, but of course you have that white background and you're only going to see it on some of that tree. Right? And I forgot to put in the red straps. Let's see, I had put them going like this. So the red strap came in like this. And these are just lines. and right here. Okay, and I can do 3 or I can do 2. I like to do things in 3s, so I'm just gonna make it look like that comes together right there. So that's holding that tree onto the car. Alright, now back to my snow. I'm gonna have a little bit of snow right here. Top of this. And on this signage. Okay. A little bit right here. Just kind of put it wherever you feel like it. Gonna have a little bit on top of this. Just a little bit right here. And on top of my lights. It's super fun, huh? A little bit right here. Once you're done with your finishing details, go ahead and sign your work and you are done. Thank you so much for creating with me. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. If you want to learn even more, you can get weekly art lessons from me by clicking right over here. You also get the reference photos for my tutorials and color mixing videos for the color scheme for the month. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Also, if you want to watch more videos, go ahead and click right over here and watch away, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.